A virus will do what a virus does, which is to replicate quickly and infect as many people as possible. And the more it replicates, the more changes it goes through in its structure. We call these changes mutations. This is a very natural part of a virus's evolution. We all know every season the flu virus changes. It's a different flu virus and we have to deal with it differently. So with so much of the coronavirus going on in our community and new people being infected every day, it should come as no surprise to us that we are now discovering new mutations or new variants of this virus. And some of these mutations are causing a lot of concern even as we desperately try to ramp up our vaccination efforts. Hello everyone, I'm Naveen Agarwal and want to welcome all of you once again to my weekly video update. We are in a race against time. On one hand, we want to vaccinate as many people as quickly as possible to reach what we call herd immunity. And on the other hand, we are now discovering these new variants which are causing a lot of concern to us. You might have heard about this in the news already. So in this video, I want to give you a quick overview of these new variants and give you some recommendations about how you could continue to mitigate your risk of exposure. Now, in preparation for this video, I have reviewed excellent information on the CDC's website and a new article published in the Journal of American Medical Association or JAMA. I'll give you the links to these resources as part of this video. CDC also now has a tracker on their website that shows data on a daily basis about the spread of these new variants by state. So if you happen to be in a state where there is more frequent reporting of these new variants of concerns, you might want to take some extra precautions. And we'll talk about some of those in this video. And I'll give you a link to this tracker as well. Okay, so let's talk about these variants. First, let's focus on the 5 concerns. Why are we concerned? Let's talk about that. The first one is that some of these variants can make the virus more transmissible, meaning it can spread more quickly. So more people will be infected and our rates of infection will continue to stay high. The second is that it can increase the severity of the disease. So more people will end up in the hospital, in the ICU, and unfortunately, more deaths will occur. Third, these variants can help the virus evade detection. And as we know, we literally have hundreds of COVID diagnostics now in the market. We have done a very good job of coming out with these diagnostic tests quickly. And I've talked about some of those in my videos. But if the virus can evade the detection, they're not of much use. Fourth, some of the monoclonal antibody treatments that seem to be working now may be ineffective against some of these variants. And finally, the most worrisome aspect is that the herd immunity we are relying on through vaccination may not work against these variants. So that's why there's a lot of concern and a lot of focus of intense media attention on this particular topic. Okay, let's dig into some of the details here. As I mentioned before, it should not be any surprise. And really the first variation or mutation of interest was discovered last year in March in 2020. Now, luckily, they concluded that this particular mutation just increased the transmissibility of the virus, but did not affect the severity of the disease it could cause or any other issue. So in a way, we were lucky. Not anymore, because the 3 new variants which are now being talked about, one from the UK, one from South Africa, and the other one from Brazil, they do have mutations which have more serious consequences. So where are these mutations happening? These mutations of interest are happening in the spike protein of the virus. And as you may remember, the spike protein is that spiky structure on top of this viral particle. Inside this spike protein is a region called receptor binding domain, or RBD for short. Receptor binding domain is what allows the virus to attach to our cell walls enter our cells, replicate within the cells, come out of the cells and go infect another cell and continue this chain. And what we are trying to do through antibody treatment or by designing vaccines that will produce antibodies through our immune system is to inactivate the function of this receptor binding domain. So it's very important for us to monitor mutations in the receptor binding domain of the spike protein. And these are very specific mutations. Any small change can actually affect the ability of these neutralizing antibodies from the vaccine or monoclonal antibody treatments to not work. That is a concern we have. Okay, so let's dig a little bit deeper. The UK strain, the South Africa strain, and the Brazil strain have some things in common, but also a lot of other differences. The UK strain has a mutation of interest, which is labeled as N501Y. So I want to spend a little bit of time going into this notation so you can understand better. Taking a step back first, the protein structure is a complicated structure. It's basically a long chain molecule made up of amino acids. Amino acids are like kind of building blocks of this protein structure, and they're connected together in a chain-like structure. So the type of the amino acids, the number of amino acids connected together, and the sequence in which they are connected together affect the structure of this spike protein or a portion of that spike protein. And any small change can change the structure. And as I mentioned before, a change in structure can affect its ability and the ability of the antibodies that we are targeting to work. So N501Y, what does it mean? And first of all, why is that of an interest? Because UK strain now has been shown to not only be more transmissible, but also it seems to suggest that it is leading to more severe condition of the disease and potentially more deaths. So that's why it's of serious concern. N501Y. So 501 is the location of the amino acid. N has been switched by Y. N is the notation for the amino acid that we expect to be present. But now in this mutation, it has been switched by the amino acid Y. Now, we can go into the chemical structure in detail if you want to, but it's important to understand that what we are talking about with this mutation is a specific location, one amino acid had been switched by another. Just this change itself is causing a concern. So N501Y, that's what it means. Now, in the South African variant and the Brazilian variant, you do see N501Y, but we also see E484K. And again, at 484th location, E has been replaced by K. And why is that of a concern? Because in laboratory studies, NIH has done some of those studies actually, they are showing that the neutralizing antibodies generated by Moderna vaccine potentially may be 6 times less efficacious. That's what they are showing. So that's a big concern. Doesn't mean that the efficacy has gone to 0, but it is not as high as the 90-95% that we were so excited about before. So that's a concern. Okay, so 484K, E484K is one of the variants discovered now. Maybe we discover more. Question is, why are they happening? Part of it is natural process of evolution. The other is maybe a selective process by which the virus actually is adapting to the new environment and maybe the new antibodies that it is confronting in our population. Remember, partial vaccination is really more risky from that point of view because the virus will be able to adapt. What other adaptations will happen, we will see over time. So we'll have to keep a very close eye on it. Okay, so what's going on? What are the news? You may have heard about Moderna trying to develop a third booster shot. Remember, it's a 2-dose regimen. They're thinking about a third booster shot maybe down the line that can help us protect against these new variants. Johnson & Johnson vaccine just came out. They have announced some top-line results. It's going through the EUA process right now. Full disclosure, Johnson & Johnson is one of my clients and I worked there before in the past. However, I have no direct relationship with their pharmaceutical business where these vaccines have been developed. So let's talk about some of their early results. It's only a one-shot vaccine. and they are showing about 66% efficacy, which is lower than the 90-95%. But more importantly, they are showing 85% efficacy in preventing more severe disease overall. So that's a pretty good number. Now, they did trial in South Africa as well, where 95% of the cases had this new strain that we are talking about. And there, the efficacy was about 57%. So again, not spectacular, but not zero, right? I want to remind all of us that early on, CDC's target was only 50% efficacy. We got lucky with 90-95%, and we should not measure any new development by that benchmark, because even that benchmark is likely to come down in light of these new variants. So 57% against this new variant is pretty good. What is most important is accelerating the vaccination effort as quickly as possible. So now, what are some of the things you can do? If you are eligible to receive a vaccine, strongly recommend you get it done as quickly as possible. I know supply is an issue. Do all you can to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. No reason to wait for a different vaccine. Whatever is available, you get it, but you complete the regimen. If it's a 2-dose regimen, you complete it. Make sure that you are taking precautions between dose 1 and dose 2. That's a time frame of risk for you. So if you are getting the first dose, going for the second dose, make sure during this time you are taking precautions and you are getting the second dose in time. If you are and even after you have been vaccinated, I would strongly recommend, particularly if you are in a state where we are finding these new variants, take more preventive measures, social distancing, masking. And that applies to all of us, even if you have not been able to get the vaccine or you're not eligible yet. So continue to take preventive measures and be extra vigilant if you happen to be in a state where CDC data is showing emergence of these new variants. Believe me, they are here. Now, it's not travel related. So it is quite likely that some of these mutations are happening independent of each other, which is a cause of concern. That would tell us that the virus is adapting to the new situation. And it's the natural fight between us and the virus. And we need to do all we can to prevent transmission, to stop replication as much as possible. So to summarize, the 3 new variants of concerns are from UK, South Africa, and Brazil. They have specific mutations which are pointing to reduced efficacy of vaccines and monoclonal antibody treatments. That is why we are concerned. And the bottom line is, again, getting vaccinated, taking preventive measures, and continuing to be extra vigilant, especially in a region where these cases are being reported with higher frequency. We know in South Carolina and Maryland, they have reported the South Africa strain already. Now, CDC surveillance will ramp up and we will learn more and more. And I'm pretty sure it is going to be quite prevalent all over our country. Finally, I want to hear from you. Please let me know what is on your mind, what questions and concerns you have. Drop me a comment or connect with me on LinkedIn and have a dialogue and conversation there. I'll do my best to give you information as I understand based on all the technical literature and credible sources of information that I review and evaluate as I prepare these videos. And my learning will emerge and evolve over time, and I promise to bring you my latest understanding as soon as I possibly can. So please let me know what's on your mind and send me a question or comment. Again, I want to thank you greatly for your interest and attention, and I hope all of you are continuing to stay safe in these very difficult circumstances.